Steve grows pumpkins. Chase for the 2026 growers jacket. Not going great. It's going to be one of those kind of days. Got cold, wet, cooling towel, fan hat, backpack full of water and Gatorade. Orange Gatorade only, because orange Gatorade is the only Gatorade. Alright, not making excuses, just stating the facts. Stuck at work on major equipment, unexpected downtime. The last 2 weeks of June and the first week of July cost me a lot of problems out here. Had a few days trickled in there that I was off, and guess what? Inches of rain each of those days. Caused me lots of problems out here. Alright, problem number one, plants kind of ran amok. You know, I'm not here. I was working at night, but can only do so much on the vine work at night. And weed growth. Yep, again, that weed growth was all the way, well, it was all the way through here, all the way back, and all the way up the side, and I've gotten most of it taken out. I'm going to chop all this down with the weed whacker attachment, hedge trimmer attachment, like I did last time, and till all this in. I've got everything in the plant zone cleaned out, and that'll be one of the last things I do, if I even get to it. Trying to get the patch presentable for the Kentucky growers. Going to be here Saturday, the last stop on the Kentucky grower patch tour. Honored to be a part of that, but I don't think they're going to see anything here extremely amazing compared to other places probably. We're right beside the 2144 barren, and I already mentioned inches of rain, and I mean inches of rain. The last bout of rain we got was right at 2 inches of rain in about 45 minutes. I had rivers running through here. You can see where the ground is kind of beat down a little bit, where the rivers were running through. Lakes sitting up everywhere, inside the plant zones and outside. I'm just way too wet. I've taken all my shade off, except for this little bit here, trying to get the ground dry. And the temperatures the next couple of days are going to be in the 90s and going to be dry days, so hopefully I'm going to have to water, not today, that's for sure, but maybe day after tomorrow. So I took down all my shade cloth, and yesterday the sun beat me up a little bit. New growth over here on the 2144 barren, kind of getting burned up a little bit. There's a little leaf there. Few up here. But it's kind of catch-22 for me. I need to be dry. I'm way too wet. It's causing me lots of problems, both in vines and in I'm not even burying right now because I'm too wet to bury. I am staking the vines down and trying to get them to root in, and that's successful to a degree, but not optimal. So I would say plant-wise, in the main patch, this is probably my best plant. It's the most under control, growing like it's supposed to do. Problem is, I am 3 fruit in now. I have aborted 2 already, and pretty sure that I'm on my 3rd. So this is what I believe is going to be number 3. See, it's got these brown spots on it. It's exactly the same as all the first 2 aborted fruits were. Look just like this, except the difference is this one appears to still be growing. So I'm still keeping an eye on it and watching out. I did pollinate yesterday. This is on the main right here, and one on the secondary right here. These are both pollinated with 2618 Mindy. I've been trying to self this plant, and the only reason I've been trying to self it is because I like orange pumpkins, and I think for the most part the 2144 barren throws white pumpkins. So I've been trying to self it so that I don't have to worry about the cross genetics and colors and all that. I know what's going to be. But trying something new here with the Mendy, because I just have not been successful trying to self-diss, and I don't know why. I have zero explanation for that. All right, the 2449 Wolf, and I've got a fruit on here, turned 20 days old yesterday. Let's see what the scale says right now. Oh, I'm tripping. 88 pounds. It gained 8 pounds last night. And it's actually my heaviest 20-day fruit for the current year, and the second heaviest of all time at 20 days. So I guess I can't complain about it any. There's what the fruit looks like. Kind of glowing like it's going to be orange. Fan fell on it one day. Put a little nick on it. That'll heal up just fine. Not really worried about that. This plant was in the exact same condition as all the others, with all the water, all the weeds. I've pretty much got all the vines under control here. Here's a nice example of weed pile I've been creating. Turning all these secondaries down through here. This will all be gone, and I'm going to let these secondaries run all the way down to the end and try to help its fruit out a little bit. I do have a crown issue on this. Right now I'm just scraping and have a fan on it. I don't think that's going to do the trick. I'm going to give it another day with this dry weather and see how it checks out. Since I'm right here, not a state record tomato, but still pretty respectable, I think. He'll probably be hitting the 3.5 pound range. Might hit 4 with it, maybe. That was kind of an accidental grow. I was watching this one right here and watching it, and not even paying attention down here. And then, oh, looky here, I already got tomato on this plant. But this is the potential state record if it continues to grow. It looks like it's already trying to blush a little bit, or flush, or whatever they call it. So we'll see what happens there. All right, this is where we get into the disaster zone of the patch. These two plants I pretty much have under control, doing what I want, where I want, except for that tertiary right there. It popped up on me today. We'll get rid of that. These two have just gone absolutely crazy. 2618 Mendy, and like I already mentioned, at work for 3 weeks straight with hardly any time at home or in the patch, and these vines ran amok. They're on top of each other all through here and over there, and I just don't know what to do. I cut a whole bunch out over there yesterday, and you see how big tall these leaves are. This is waist high for me, and the leaves are just toppling over now. There's a couple over there just toppled over. So I got some structural help with that today. I'm going to try and get these things supported up a little bit better. Do have a fruit on the end up here that I had a problem with. Oh, look, I just walked right by this. I absolutely hate doing this, but it was a necessary evil. I had to do it. The leaves are just laying down. The heavy rains are beating them down, and a little bit of wind. It's not hard for wind to blow over leaves when they're at the tip top of your wind fence. That last storm that came through here had a good bit of wind that came prior to it and laid down all kinds of leaves over there in that section. And you can see where all these are laid down. But I'm going to try and get all these stood back up, clip off the broken ones. There's a broken one right there, and try and get it back in shape. I don't know what I'm going to do about all these daggone vines. I've got secondaries and tertiaries just crawling all over each other in this entire plant. I cut out a bunch over there yesterday, last night. I need to cut out a bunch here. Trying to be real careful not to damage things. I got tons of roots at the top of the ground everywhere in all 4 locations, and that's because the ground's way too wet, and just trying to get some air. Fruit didn't set up like I wanted it to. This is on the secondary that we turned into new main, and it was run way out there. You see I still got cleanup to do over there. That's on the books for tonight, I hope. So I was going to deadhead this one from the get-go, was my plan. I put my scale out here, but the ground, there's a big dip in here, and the ground was so wet and squishy, I just couldn't get the scale to stop floating. The drawback to that is I had to pull like 4 nodes out to get it on the scale in both directions. And if I'd set it up like this to start with, I could have kept a lot of root in the ground. But I deadheaded it, pulled all these nodes up in order to get it on the scale. Put the scale out here. I couldn't get the scale to stop floating. I didn't like that. I said, no, I'm not going to grow it like that. So took the scale back out. Just went back to my traditional way here. 3/4 plywood with 2 sheets of mill fabric. I get the 2469 Ford whipped back into shape, and I'm almost there. I just got to get these vines positioned where I want them to go, and I got to put a turn in here. So really similar to this plant here. This one was just growing on top of weeds. See that there? And very little roots going in the ground. I do have some active rooting back in there and back over there. I had to put this shade up over top of it today because the sun's beating me up on the growing tip. That's a lot of vine to turn, but I'm going to try and turn it and lay it right in here and maybe give it another turn going back. Or I'm going to terminate it at the edge here and let the secondaries, new secondaries, fill in the space here. Little tiny fruit, but that's to be expected. Turned 12 days old yesterday. I expected to be bigger than that at 12 days old, but again, this plant is root challenged, so it is what it is. Porch pumpkin was probably the thoughts on this to start off with after all the issues I had with the vine initially. I'm really liking this growth though. This is way different than what we saw in the beginning of the year with this plant. This secondary here that I made into a new main is spitting out lots of side growth, and you know, if this was the plant and none of that was back there, I'd be like, yeah, okay, we can work with this. There's a bit of a peek at what I'm dealing with here, and I'm going to get the rest of these weeds out and get this cleaned up and get all these vines pinned down through here in the correct position that they're supposed to be in, and I think I'll be okay on this plant. Still not a lot of plant, but it's going to grow. It's growing well on the tips, and all these side vines are growing well, so I think we'll be okay. All 4 of these plants and the creek patch plant yesterday got their first round of Acel SG30. That is replacing my Merit 2F. I ran out of Merit 2F, and that was the very first treatment for them. They're both in the same class of insecticides, so it shouldn't be much of a change for me, but I'm hoping that a little bit different product is going to shock these cucumber beetles. And I haven't seen a whole lot, but if I can zoom in here, you know I have them because of that. Alright, Creekside patch is doing pretty good. The fruit over there is 22 days old today. It was estimating 61 pounds on day 20. I wasn't even going to measure it, but I was curious about it. I got a little crack leading into the stem. It's doing okay right now. I think I'm going to be fine there, at least for the time being. And we're not going to go over there and look at it today. I got to get back to work out here. And my vine split, I was really struggling with it through the rain. I just couldn't get it to stop leaking. But these past couple of days being dry and hot and sunny, and it's shaping up like a rock star right now. So I'm hoping to get it 100% healed up before the next batch of rain comes this weekend, which is also supposed to be in the inches of rain category. So I certainly don't need that right now, but if I get this patch whipped into shape before that comes, I might be able to get through it. So thanks a lot for watching. Lots of problems and struggles going on here. We'll get through it, I hope. Keep working hard at it. Late nights, early mornings, trying to beat the heat out here and use all the time available. And I'll see you next time.